I will be installing Rocky Linux 9.5 in a dual boot setup with Windows on my hard drive. Rocky Linux is generally used for servers, so why would I use an OS mainly for servers? Well, if at work you're using Rocky, or more likely Red Hat, then you can be more adept by having it as your primary driver. And it can help if you are preparing to get the Red Hat certs. So, I'm going to start by downloading it. Going to rockylinux.org, going to download, and then AMD Intel, and then going to download the ISO. After, going to download Rufus, going to rufus.ie, and scroll down, and want to download the portable version. Once both are downloaded, go into your downloads folder, and I'm going to open up Rufus. Yes, allow for updates. I'm going to plug in my USB drive and then put the Rocky Linux ISO on. So the ISO is 11 gigs. So you'll need, for example, a 16 gigabyte USB drive. In my case, I'm using a 64 gigabyte drive. And I'm going to go to select Rocky, change it to GPT, and leave the rest of defaults. Start. Okay. All right, it's completed. Close. I'm going to open up disk management. And now I'm going to make space for the Rocky Linux install. I'm going to shrink my C drive. I'll shrink it by about 50 gigabytes. Shrink. And now I'm going to reboot my computer, and I'm going to go into my BIOS. All right, in my BIOS here, I have secure boot disabled. And under boot, I have fast boot disabled. Boot mode select is UEFI. And for the boot option number 1, I have to change it so it doesn't go into Windows. So I have to change it from the Windows Boot Manager to USB. And then save changes and exit. All right, it's booted the USB drive. Going to select install Rocky Linux 9.5. All right, the welcome screen comes up. Select your language, continue. And select my time and date. Done. Installation source. It's going to be the USB drive and the software selection. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to be doing it as a workstation. And so I want GNOME applications, and I want internet apps. I want Office suites. And I want remote desktop clients, and I want console internet tools, and graphical admin tools, and I'll do security tools, and done. And of course, I can always install any additional software afterwards. Next, installation destination. And I'll be selecting my drive, and I want to do a custom storage configuration. I'm gonna hit done. And it says here you haven't created any mount points for your Rocky Linux 9.5 installation yet. And I can create them automatically by clicking here. But if I do that, it's going to use the existing EFI partition, the 100 megabyte EFI partition that I have with Windows. And Microsoft is known for removing anything not related to Windows in this EFI partition. Will likely get removed after a Windows update, which will cause an issue of booting into Rocky. So to prevent this, I'm going to create a separate EFI partition for Rocky to avoid any issues. Now I'm going to go back by selecting discard all changes and then reset. And then I can select standard partition, LVM, or LVM thin provisioning. I'll keep the defaults as LVM. And LVM is Logical Volume Manager, so it allows me to manage my volumes dynamically. Now I'm going to create my partitions. First one's going to be /boot. And I want to have it as 1 gig. add, and this will be a standard partition, and the file system, I'm going to be having it as ext4. Generally speaking, for workstations, for general purpose situations, I'm going to use ext4 instead of XFS, which is generally used for high performance, such as large files and workloads, which you typically see in servers. So I'm going to be having ext4 here. And then the next partition is going to be for the separate EFI partition, 512 megabytes, add. And this one, the file system is going to be the EFI system partition. So it's automatically detected it. The next I'm going to have swap. And I have 8 gigs on this machine here, so I'm going to do 8 gigs. Add. All right, it's automatically selected LVM and the file system swap. And then the volume group RL, Rocky Linux, that it had created. And then I'm going to create the next mount point. And to keep it simple, I'm just going to do slash for everything else. And it's going to be the remaining space. So I'm just going to hit add mount point. And it uses the remaining space. And so I'm going to change this from XFS, and it's going to be ext4. And then done. Accept changes. I'm going to go to network and host name. And then when I put in my host name. So I'm on a wired connection, and it's a DHCP client. So it's already gotten the IP address, default gateway, and the DNS servers. When it's done. And a security profile, and I have no profile selected. And a root password. And put done. And then user creation. Create a new user. Hit done. And then begin installation. Depending on how fast your computer is, so it'll take a little bit of time to complete. All right, installation complete. Going to reboot, and I'm going to go into my BIOS. All right, in my boot options here, it has it to boot the Windows Boot Manager first, and then Rocky Linux second. So I'll have to change that, so it boots it to Rocky Linux first, and then save changes and exit. All right, so it's booted into GRUB, and I have Rocky Linux. And there's Windows Boot Manager. It's going to boot into Rocky. Going to log in. Let's skip the tour. All right, so Rocky Linux comes up as expected. So if I want to go and install software, I'm going to open up Software Center. And I'm going to download GIMP, install, open, and it works as expected. And now I'm going to reboot my computer to ensure I can go back into Windows. Select Windows. All right, so I booted into Windows. So that's it. That's how you can install Rocky Linux 9.5 in a dual boot setup with Windows. I hope this video was useful, and I thank you for watching. Bye now.